I do not share anything I'm going through in real time.
Good.
I will only share things online that I have already overcome, because there is no value in me coming online to bleed freely. People will use me for bait.
Yeah.
The internet is full of sharks. If you're coming on here bleeding, people will sniff that out and you'll think they're coming to your aid. They're not coming to your aid. They're coming to rip you to shreds. That's how the internet works. So it's better you come on here with your wounds already healed.
Yeah.
And so for me, if you've ever heard anything about my experience, most times it's going to be because I've already taken it through a process, which is there's my experience, there's what I've observed from it, there's my revelation from it, and then I'm giving you the application for it, right? I'm not giving you my raw experience. This is not where I process.
Yeah.
I have a journal, I have a therapist, I have friends. This is not where I process. This is where I conclude.
You know, she makes a lot of great points, and what I want to speak to is, for one, the wisdom in it. I'll start with kind of backwards in a sense, to where she started out saying she has the experience, and then she waits till she gets like a revelation of what she is to take away from it, and or what she observed about herself or observed from the situation, and then she comes away with an application that can help people. I think that is a healthy way of approaching how to make the most of something you've gone through, good, bad, indifferent, or ugly, how to make the most of it, and be purposeful with it. And that's something that I often speak about, because I do believe that God is able to take things that are difficult and painful for us and make it useful, not just for us, but for others. And then the next point I'll make based off what she was saying is, you know, social media is not a safe space. It's not your diary. It's not where you go and just bleed your pain and your trauma, your fears, you know, onto people. Spot on. I actually think we need to be more mindful about what we share, you know, how much we share, and if we should share at all. I think some things are just for us, and then for those who are close to us. I was just telling somebody recently, like, you know, when people say, it's those phones, it's not the phones, but yes, it is the phones at the same time, because it's the phone that is empowering people or giving people access to these platforms to where they can get out and just bleed. People are just constantly bleeding on others, like their trauma in their life. And I live by this principle. If most people aren't healthy in terms of how they love themselves, in terms of how they process their emotions, in terms of how they handle relationships, whether it's family, romantic, work relationships, relationships with strangers, acquaintances, like whatever it is, friends. If they're not healthy with that, how are they going to be healthy in how they process what we share? How can they be good stewards of that? And because they're not good with their own lives, why would I have the expectation that they're going to do good with the information I put out into the world? So that's something that you should consider. Like, if people aren't mindful and careful with themselves, then they're going to do exactly what she said. She's like, you get online and you get to sharing your business, they're going to rip you to shreds. They really are. Or they're going to use it against you. They're going to weaponize your vulnerability, your transparency, or your weak moments, you know, your unwise, you know, moments where you're getting on there and talking a little bit too much. They're going to use it against you. And for you to expect them to not is unwise. It's like, yeah, they shouldn't do it, but most people don't have the self-control, the compassion to not do certain things, because that's just how they operate. So she just makes a ton of sense. And I think, you know, lastly, kind of where I'll start to as they say, land is plain. I think there's pros and cons to social media. And I think it's important for us to, as much as we emphasize the cons and the warnings of like how it can be distracting and it could be, another weapon to bully and to mean people, to cause division, I think it's also important for us to know how powerful it is to push back against that type of behavior. We can use this same platform, to push back against bullying, to push back against behaviors like shredding people, being mean, lacking compassion. Like, we can say and do things on here that push against that, and I think that's something that we have to keep in mind. It's a hopeful perspective that, as sure as you can use it as a weapon for evil, I can use it as a weapon for good. So when we access these apps, we ought to like keep in mind, like, hey, I have the ability to do good with this and I have the ability to do bad. When we go through situations, I have the ability to manage what I've gone through in a way to where I'm sharing things that are helpful and not bleeding, or I can just be careless and reckless and just share like it's my own personal diary and end up doing damage to myself and to others. Because truth be told, everybody can't handle what you've gone through. They can't. Sometimes you share things and it's like adding fuel to the fire of the rage and the bitterness and the brokenness in people's lives. So you have to steward what you share on here. And like that's why I say, like, what she said makes so much sense. Like, you have your experience, you observe it, you get the revelation from it, and then you share the application, because that application can be applied to any area of the individual's lives, or even your life in general. So yeah, enough said. That's the hopeful perspective about social media. Like, you can use it and you can share experiences that can help people, go further, faster than you were. That can give them hope in the midst of a storm, because you were there. You can comfort them because you were there. You can encourage them because you were there. You can give them insight because you were there. And when I say you were there, like, you went through it, you're not telling them everything, but you're telling them the meat and potatoes that will fuel them to be able to have victory and to get through it in a way that, just saves them some stress, helps them see Jesus in a different light, and be purposeful, all of the above. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you'd like to donate to this brand and ministry, that's in the description as well. Lastly, you can connect with us online at www.there'shopebrand.com. There's merch there. You can grab merch over there. But as I always say, I'll catch y'all in the next video.